Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back yet again.
So there's so much buzz on Omicron.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Yes. And we were just watching this little video here that's, saying why did they skip 2 letters in the Greek alphabet to name this newest form, let's just use form, of the plague upon the land. And they said it's because NU, which would have been next, is too easily confounded with the word new. And after that comes XI, which wasn't used because it's a common surname in certain languages. So this is why they went with Omicron. Why do I feel, I'm almost feeling like this whole naming thing is going to be sort of a, whatchamacallit, like a deja vu, but like a Mandela effect thing.
It's going to. They're going to do things with it. They're going to write and then rewrite, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in about 5 years, what comes out. I'll be curious about it too.
Yeah, it's very curious. So, with all the hype about this new variant, we see that the South African doctor who discovered it said, describes the symptoms as very mild. Just, basically some lethargy, some body aches, a little bit of a headache. That's it. Nothing atrocious, so to speak. Nothing terrifying. And it didn't have some of the other symptoms that have been seen previously, and including like losing the sense of smell and taste, which can be so disconcerting. In fact, over here we see this new form of the plague upon the land could spell the end for the plague upon the land. So says a top Russian scientist. As this one right here, they say basically, we're avoiding certain keywords. As this one has come through, it should be very, very, how would we say this?
I don't know. You're just going to have to go around the vocabulary.
See, Sorry, guys. She doesn't want me saying, mutation.
Darn it, I don't.
But, this, and because we're going to see, we're going to look at other things that talk about this. And we brought it up before in other videos, looking at clues that are out there, as they always telegraph things through the movies and through regular culture. So this Russian scientist says that even if it does spread faster than its predecessor, which we knew as Delta, could take months to become the predominant form. And if that happens, it doesn't mean that there's going to be more loss as far as loss of LIFE on the planet. And actually, this could be part of the end of this, nightmare for so many on this planet. As we know, this has just turned us upside down. And again, this is very curiously represented in many different movies, and not just this one, which is making a buzz because it's the same name. Omicron, 1963 Italian science fiction comedy film. And what was this about? Boy, those 60s sci-fi movies, grew up with those. It's about an alien taking over the body of an Earthman in order to learn about the planet so his race can take it over.
Well, imagine that. Now, isn't that curious? I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, and when I hear Omicron, I want to basically turn it into Omnicron. And, if you did Google Omnicron, then you see that there is a, basically a cartoon or anime about this. And in the anime, Omnicron is the ultimate antagonist. And it's the legendary king of the monsters. The goal is to eradicate all of humanity and create a world solely ruled by the Nexomon. So, this is like a different race of beings again. That's really curious, isn't it? Now, that's Omicron, and if you break that word up, omni means all, and chron is basically for chronos, time. Think chronometer, timepiece, right? Again, the phonetics, it's curious, and we've touched on this many times in our videos. This is from Prometheus, where mankind decides they want to go out and meet the engineers, the DNA genetic engineers that created this particular species of humanoid being upon the planet, ourselves, Homo sapiens. And so when they find them, they find that they're not necessarily that nice, and they just view humanity with, they don't have any, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a disdain, but they just, insignificant is kind of the word that comes to mind. Like, if they're in your way, they'll just step on you.
Yeah.
Squish you. And they weren't really nice beings because they created this biological system method mode of WAR fair, as you look at this one who actually sacrificed himself by ingesting that infamous black goo. The black goo we've talked about that causes mutations and eventually brings about, the creatures that we know of in the Alien and Alien vs. Predator movies.
Oh yeah, the cute fuzzy ones.
Oh, yeah, cute and fuzzy for sure. And it's all about, again, mutations. Interesting. Mutations. When we bring that up, I think of mu as in Mu and Lemuria, and then the mutations that came after those global societies as well. So that black goo, and this is the Wikipedia for Alien versus Predator fandom. It's also known as Agent AO 3959X91-15. Yeah, black goo, black liquid, or just simply a pathogen. Extremely potent and virulent, mutagenic. Again, there's that mutations, pathogen, composed of millions of small microorganisms that was manufactured by the engineers. And I start thinking of NaNO.
Oh yeah, I was just reading an article on that this morning and how they have these little robots now that can reproduce themselves in their own image. I'm not even kidding. Crazy.
Yes, and there's a lot of weird stuff coming out like that. Yeah, I saw that too. So yeah, NaNO.
Nanu.
Yes.
We'll just say that.
And when I see manufactured by the engineers, I start thinking DARPA. DARPA.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yes. Look up in the sky.
Yeah.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No. It's Nanu. Produced by DARPA.
Yeah.
Floating on down in the clouds, those silvery gray glazy type of clouds that just obfuscate the sun.
That cover your skin.
Keeping that light that causes positive mutations away from us. Yes. So, this is so interesting, right? Is it not? I mean, we could see the whole thing. Again, when you look to this and you think about these very large, they happen to be like 12 feet tall, 12 to 16 feet tall, something like that. Again, it's so reminiscent of the Anunnaki people that we see in legends. Is it really all just simply, this is all coincidence? How about that infamous, well, they did a remake, movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And if you're sleeping, you're in trouble because they're going to kind of create another version of you, and then you just simply disappear.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so many things they have done predictive programming with so many creepy movies. It really kind of makes it difficult and can definitely keep you up at night.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we have all the references to a zombie apocalypse and unveiling. Again, apocalypse means the unveiling. So zombie apocalypse means the unveiling of the new zombies. Interesting. Interesting. What's going to turn people into zombies? Or are people already kind of zombies in many cases, not understanding the bigger thing of what's going on here, which ultimately is assimilation into the Borg.
Yep, there you have it right there.
That's it in a nutshell. As we see, part human, part machine, and totally basically controlled.
Right now they just have us so conditioned to carry our phones everywhere we go. And they even got it to where, little children are always carrying a tablet, carrying a phone, and it's all part of the integration. It's a very slow but steady integration. And I think the Galactics have told us more than once, if you step away from your electronics, step away. But then so many people are working from home and they need these electronics. They have to have these things like stuck right onto them. So it can make it very difficult to step away from the system, but we really, really, really have to. It's not a matter of if we want to. If you want to evolve, then one of the priorities is going to have to be stepping away from this equipment.
Absolutely, and we see right there, Novus Ordo Seclorum. It's right in front of us, that new order upon the world. But of course, the old order is the new order, so to speak, because the control's been there the whole time. What they're talking about is just the outright control where they no longer have to hide it. It's just out there in its entirety, and that's what we're looking at manifesting right now. But we are most definitely resisting. It's not futile. And in fact, it's not futile to the point where this is why we see the skipping of the letters, because what they're doing here is, again, this is a signal. This is a message. There is a cryptic, encrypted message behind all this. And so, what we've gotten is that from the guides is that what this is a signal to everybody out there. Phase 2, it has started. Go to plan B. This is what we've been talking about. When plan A doesn't work, they'll go to plan B. If that doesn't work, then they go to plan C. All these things have been planned out for generation upon generation.
And they're waiting, for the ones who are just, I think they have humankind mapped out so that they understand most of our behaviors. As long as we're in a state of fear, they know how to predict us. They know how to predict our next moves. So that's why it's so important to understand what's going on, but not act out of fear, because that's how they control us.
Absolutely. And so, this is the bigger plan, and we had talked about, the Greys, the race that is known as the Greys. And if you were to dissect Greys, and most of them, you'd find that they're as much actual biological mass, and you're going to, as there is mechanical, you're going to find a mix. They're a hybrid of literally machine and biological material. And, that's the envisioned future for humanity, as everything is just going in incremental steps. And again, will you sell your soul to Satan, so to speak? Well, there's these analogies can be very, very close to reality. When we hear about this, and we think about, the angel on one shoulder and the little devil with a pitchfork on the other shoulder. Interesting how these devils all have those, kind of draconian, reptilian type of, energy to them and looks. as well. You know, it's...
And there's been some questions about why the WHO skipped letters and
start. There we go.
Yeah, that's very, you know, of course they always start things like this. And let's mute that and stop that just in case it's still playing. Very curious, you know, all these things that we see are right there in our face. And yet, you know, many will, quote unquote, take the mark of the beast just to, you know, keep functioning in the system. But it's the system that needs to be destroyed. The system needs to crumble. The whole system needs to fall apart in order for us to build something new. So, you know, we must stand strong. We must not succumb to the system.
Absolutely not. You know, we have to stand back. We have to continue our perspective, looking at things from, you know, far away. Stand back and look at things. You know, remain separated from the norm, because we're going to be able to help other people that are still in the illusion. When they're ready to come out, they're going to need somebody to go to, and you're going to be that go-to person.
And by the way, there is a crypto as well with the same name, and it's skyrocketing thanks to the plague upon the land. And I wonder, you know, again, think about it, because I know many people are high on crypto, and if it was a crypto that was aside, if it was any sort of system that was totally not under the control of the powers that be, then it's better than a system that is under the control of the powers that be. But again, it's just an illusion. It's not real. And it does make it so there can be power brokers. There can be people that are middlemen. And I know the middlemen won't like that. And middlemen are going to give thumbs down, but that's okay. You know, because we need to change the system. We need to simply be, you know, bartering, trading, exchanging, even exchanges of energy are what is needed for the new system and what is going to emerge. When you look at this, all the different layers, when I was a kid and first got into business and I was looking at price sheets, and there were different terms on those price sheets and all these different numbers, it boggled my mind to find out that something that cost $2 to produce could sell for like $29.95. That's kind of insane, is it not? But that is the world we live in. And when we look to, you know, some of the biggest industries, the military machine, and then also BIGFARMA, if you know what I mean, it might be even way more substantial than that. It could be, in some cases, things that cost a dime to produce might bring in, you know, 2,000-fold. That's just absolute insanity. That's just an insane greed. And this is how this system acts, because how does it get people to turn on people? Through greed.
Well, yeah, because we need this kind of system that we have if you want to have things like a nice house and a nice car. So that, you know, again, you just got to step back and start to try to figure out, how are you going to get out of the system? What are you going to do today that's going to pull you back from the system little by little? Because definitely we didn't get here overnight. We didn't get here, you know, at the snap of a finger. This has been generations. So it's going to probably be a generational thing getting out of it, but we have to start somewhere.
We most definitely do. So, you know, what is the truth behind Omicron? Well, you know, what we get is that this is a code. This is basically letting all those out there that are part of this. And again, you know, when you get down to it, the masses way outnumber those that are actively, knowingly taking part in this plan and the control grid, and by such a value that there's no way they could keep us down. Also, because our potential is way higher than them. And, you know, as we had shared about the Anunnaki, they might view themselves as technologically superior, but they're spiritually inferior.
Very much so.
Absolutely. They cannot go where we can go. And when we are out of the dark age, we are so far above them unless we choose to stay in their control. And that's a choice. So again, what does it profit you to sell your very soul and gain the world?
Right. You got to really sit and think about that. Sit with that question for a little while and see what you come up with.
So yeah, it's basically code, and it basically means go to plan B, accelerate, because things are not turning out as they had planned at that pace that they had planned. And again, this movie is a great reference when you think about it. Alien takes over the body of a Earthman in order to learn about the planet so his race can take it over. That's, alien invasion happened a long time ago, guys.
Yep.
It happened a long time ago. Those wars of the gods that are spoken of in books like the Mahabharata, the invasion's been complete. And then they went and they kind of hid themselves behind the scenes. But they're still there, and they're still manipulating everything. And now, because we're awakening at a faster pace than perhaps they foreseen, or maybe they did foresee it, and they're just simply saying, go to plan B. So be prepared for whatever plan B turns out to be. As again, I was just looking up in the sky, and wow, interesting how there's that trail up there now.
I know, and I've been getting a lot of pictures from you guys saying, wow, they're kind of doing this to the sky again, and you gotta wonder, where is all this stuff coming from? And it's probably just above our heads.
Exactly. So we do want to thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon, because we really, really couldn't do it without you guys, and we have a new patron.
Yes, and I've been just waiting all morning to say this name. I have. Okay, we want to say thank you to Wadstum Dreads, and I hope I didn't butcher it.
Nope. I think you're good. So thank you guys for your support. Also over at Medicinal Foods, because they're great people as well, trying to support humanity through these times. And use the link that's on the videos, and it does help the channel as well as get you guys a discount. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.